is almost over for the Maize and Blue. They started early this year relative to what they normally start, and that means the spring game is this weekend. And, I know, Ira, you thought probably the spring game was going to be next weekend when you made these Final Four plans. No, the spring game is this coming weekend. And today, the last spring practice before the spring game will take place, and the Michigan Insider will be out there. We had an opportunity to talk to many of the assistant coaches yesterday about the progress this spring and what fans can anticipate seeing come Saturday, and also talked to them about the women's academy, the men's experience coming up as well. We're going to talk to Brady Hoke about that coming up before their morning meetings, as they have every single day. We're going to get Brady Hoke in here shortly. But the thing to me this spring that I'll seize upon most when we watch today and when we watch on Saturday, Ira, and I imagine this will be the case for a lot of fans, is what do you see up front on the offensive line? What do you see with that running game? Now, you can only tell so much because obviously there's some injuries up front. Magnuson out. Ben Braden has a big club on his hand. This is early in the transition process, obviously, as Doug Nussmeier implementing his offense. And you're going against yourself. I mean, you're going against your own team. So there's only so much you can tell. And yet you can, the coaches anyway, can get somewhat of a decent account of the progress that they've made this spring. So we will be watching that closely, obviously today and certainly into Saturday, and seeing what we can gauge at this early point. But the most important gauge is that of the coaches. Offensive line coach Daryl Funk, I thought, was really good, as you'll hear later on today in our interview with him about the progress they made. And same thing with Doug Nussmeier, as they said, hey, it's a work in progress. But the man that's evaluating it all, the guy that's pushing the buttons, looking for that attitude, and listening for football every single day is Michigan head man Brady Hoke, and he joins us right now on the air. Brady, how you doing?
Good, Sam. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad that you could join us as always. Well, the spring is almost about to come to a close here for you guys. I'm curious, just to jump right into it. What is it, 15 or 13 practices so far? What kind of progress have you seen in particular on offense, and in particular that running game?
Well, too bad we're not with the old rules where you had 20 practices, because we could still use a lot of that work and a lot of that time. But with 2 days left, I think overall, generally, the incremental improvements that I see guys make at every position, and a lot of the young guys that we have who played a year ago, I think their maturation process and from a physicalness standpoint and what we're trying to achieve on a daily basis has been really positive.
I wonder, as a coach, how do you, when you're going against yourself, there's obviously a familiarity there. How do you determine whether, one side of the ball is really making progress versus, hey, the other side of the ball just isn't coming along at the rate that I want it to? How do you judge? How do you gauge whether you're just being really good or one side is really bad?
Well, and that's always one of the things as you go through spring ball and you go through fall camp. You'd like to have an opportunity, probably in the spring, line up against somebody else, and have an exhibition game of some sort or practices. But I think you evaluate so much, and we've gotten a ton of reps, which we needed on both sides of the ball, that you can see the strides that some guys are making. I think you're critical and constructively about how you practice and how they learn. I think early the offense was a little bit behind the defense, and that's expected to some degree because of the new installation, new terminology. Doug coming in and putting the plan together. And there's a lot of learning that goes on, and sometimes you get a little bit of paralysis by analysis. You're thinking too much because you want to do everything right, and you're not playing fast. Where I think in the last 4 or 5 days that we've been out there, I think you can see those strides and the familiarity with the plan offensively taking shape.
Coach, I know you're stressing competition at every position. So that being said, how's the quarterback position kind of shaking out competition-wise at this point?
Well, at this point, I think all the guys, Devin, Shane, Wilton Spate, Russell Bellamy, being the top 4 guys, I think they've all worked extremely hard. I think they all have a sense of pride in their performance every day, and they have a standard in their performance. And I think that they're really doing a great job. Devin, if we would play the game tomorrow, he'd be the guy who start the game. But there's an awful lot that the 3 other guys have done a really nice job, and you can see a lot of growth.
We're talking to Michigan head man Brady Hoke here on the Michigan Insider, Sports Talk 1050, WTKA, online at WTKA.com. Talking to first Doug Nussmeier, he said that there's going to be an A-list, list of plays that you guys are going to run against every team, every game. They aren't going to change. Hang your hat plays. As far as those plays are concerned, Coach, how comfortable are your guys with those? How effectively do your guys execute those plays right now?
Yeah, Sam, and I think when you look at the guys up front, and obviously we've had Magnuson and Brzezinski have been out. Chris Fox a little bit. It hasn't been able to go every day, but when you look at the offensive linemen, I think the competition that we have entrenched there, with Kalis and Bosch at the guards, and David Dawson and his improvement. Jack Miller has swung over to play some guard at times. I really think that's been real positive for us, and I think the A-list plays, things that are the everydays, you see a lot of progress, and the combination blocks at the line of scrimmage, getting up to the second level, the perimeter schemes, when you identify a front and do the things that you need to do there. It's been really, you can see the development and the growth between that.
What about on the defensive side, Coach? Because one of the things that we heard from Coach Madison and obviously from you is that there's going to be more aggression. Part of that was moving Jake Ryan to the middle. Has that aggression manifested itself, and what have you seen from Jake this spring?
Yeah, well, number one, Jake is really, playing in the inside has made a lot of football plays for us during the spring, and I think with the ability to do some things that we want to do with positioning him to take advantage of the pluses that he brings, as a guy who's ultra aggressive, Joe Bolden and Des Morgan, Mike McCray, Ben Gideon, all have done the inside part of it, like the competition that really is there, but also like how they've come to work every day. I think James Ross moving out to the Sam has been a real plus in a lot of ways with his athleticism when you face a lot of teams who are in the slot. And I think the movement of Royce Jenkins-Stone, I think it's really given Royce a new life, so to say, with playing outside as a Sam.
Now, Coach, I know that as coaches, you don't award positions in the spring. So I'm not asking you to say that, hey, these guys are going to be the starters or that kind of thing. But certainly there's been a buzz about some guys coming out of the spring. So just curious as to what your impressions have been of a few guys. Starting first with Jordan Lewis, I've heard a lot about the spring that he's had.
Yeah, I think Jordan really came into the winter, after the season. I think he, evaluated where he was a little bit on the depth chart and has come to work every day. He's a guy who's got a lot of athleticism. I think as he continues to gain some strength and get a little bigger. I think he'll even excel a little more. But I think he's had a very consistent and competitive spring.
Now, a guy that you see, obviously, in the trenches there up front, a guy that hasn't played, but again, you listen to his teammates talk about him, they say this kid has really turned their heads. And Maurice Hurst, what about Mo?
Yeah, Mo, is a guy that you really saw come on during bowl practices, and I think he caught the attention of the coaches and his teammates a little bit. But Mo's played very productive during the spring. He's got exceptional quickness and ability to chase the ball and get off blocks, and he's had a very good spring. And I think the other guy, Ryan Glasgow, has really come in and had a real physical spring, and really pleased with his development.
Two other guys real quick, Coach, before we move on. I want to get some offensive guys in there. Probably tougher to tell exactly what it means because they're early enrollees, but talking to the coaches yesterday, a few of those guys kind of stuck out. Freddie Canteen and then also Mason Cole are two of the guys that we've heard a lot about.
Yeah, both of those guys came in January. Both of those guys come from really good programs, and you can see that. You can see it how they acclimated into the university and school, and how they acclimated it with their teammates and in the weight room, and then out here this spring. Freddie is a slot that has a lot of big play capabilities. Really encouraged by how he does things when you look at route running, his ability to catch the ball, and the toughness he has. And again, when he gets through a year of the weight room with Coach Wellman, and what he gets through this summer, I think that will just continue for him to grow. Mason Cole, again, comes from a high school program where they do a tremendous job of coaching. And then Mason, as a young offensive lineman, his athleticism and his personal pride and toughness that he has every day is something that's been really great to see.
Great stuff, Coach. Health heading into the spring game. How did you make out this spring health-wise? Any more notable injuries, or are you pretty good as far as that's concerned?
Well, we got bumps and bruises, and that's kind of the way it goes, Sam. And it's really hard to manufacture a spring game format. So we'll do some things, and the other thing, Sam, we're going to be a team. We got 39 sophomores, and we're going to have 38 freshmen when the other group gets here. So we're a relatively young team. So, we got a lot of practice work that we've got to achieve on Saturday. And the spring game format doesn't give you the number of reps that we want to get. So that's how we're going to approach it. And we'll do some scrimmage in about the last 40 minutes of practice, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. Looking forward to that. Coming Saturday, fans will get a chance to see the Wolverines in that practice, 2 o'clock on Saturday. Coach, all right. So, I see things, and I think you see a lot of things, too. And one of the things that I saw yesterday were some comments out of Columbus. If you weren't aware, let me make you aware. Ed Warner, the offensive line coach from Ohio State, speaking to a group of Ohio State fans, said about Michigan losing some playbooks, hey, I heard Brady was upset because he hadn't finished coloring them. I'm curious if you had heard that before now, and if whether you have or not, your response to that.
Well, obviously there's enough people that keep you informed of what's going on. But, the one thing around here is, we try and always stay in between the lines, I think, and that's important with how you handle your program.
Okay, I got you. All right, so, Coach, speaking of how you handle your program, fans, a number of fans will have an opportunity to get an up-close feel for how you handle the players within your program at the men's experience and the women's football academy that's coming up, both of which are coming up the first weekend in June. So tell the fans that have signed up and the fans that will sign up, what they can expect from being a part of those experiences.
Well, there's no doubt, Sam. You know, the men's experience is one of the real fun things that we get involved in. You know, the cause for prostate cancer research and all that kind of stuff. It's really a great event. You know, the guys who come, they get coached. They get through a pregame meal and just watching the film. They'll get constructively coached off of the film of how they do things. You know, the being in the team meeting room and having Greg Madison call you out a little bit about how you're playing defensive line or linebacker or whatever it might be it's really a great experience. And I think those who have been here before, you know, they would attest to how much fun it is. And then the Women's Academy is something that I know our players do a tremendous job with. And our coaches do. And, you know, my wife, as you know, who's one of your nemesis, is at the softball, at Hutch's softball clinic. It really is a lot of fun. And we try and teach the game. Our kids are around, do a great job of helping the coaches teach and give you experience like no other here at the University of Michigan.
The men's experience, June 4th and 5th. It's certainly still spots open for guys that want to participate in that. And then the Women's Academy on 6th. That's kind of the culmination of the 3 days of experiences for Michigan fans, and both for outstanding causes, you know, cancer research and fighting that disease. So, of course, Brady going to be back out there again, not only at your camps, but also at Hutch's Academy. And just so you know, I love the Hokes, but on that day, just to pass the message along, I want your wife to know that we're ready for her this time. We're ready to go.
I think she's already planning a few things, Sam. So, you know, preparation is the key to success. So you may have your hands full.
All right, Brady, I know you got a 7:30 meeting, so we just got you right to it. We appreciate you taking the time this morning.
Hey, thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks a lot. That was Michigan head man Brady Hoke. Look.